Welcome back to Goldseek TV. I'm here today with a very exciting and new silver company, BP Silver. Is a couple months old, but this is not a company that has come about overnight. So I'm here today with the founder and CEO of BP Silver, Tim Shearcroft. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me. I appreciate coming on. This is my first interview on the company, and happy to be doing it with you. You've been a very supportive shareholder, and you've helped get this company going. So appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. It was quite an interesting story when I first came across it. I had to dig into it a little bit more because it sounded almost too good to be true for a new company that has some really significant people involved already. So I appreciate the opportunity to have become an investor. Quite excited to see how things develop here in the near future. So let's talk about what's going on with the company. You're a brand new silver exploration company in Bolivia, and you're targeting tier 1 silver discoveries. So before we get into the project itself, what would a tier 1 silver discovery look like?
Well, a tier one silver discovery would start at a minimum of 100 million ounces plus. But I think when you talk about tier 1, you need to have scalability, district scale opportunity. And then also, if it's something where you do make a discovery, is it something that can be put into production? Can it attract majors? Does it have the infrastructure in place? There's a lot of factors that go in. I mean, we're very early stage, but certainly the lithocap setting that we have, it absolutely has the potential to qualify as a tier 1 discovery. But assays and a lot of drilling will determine that.
Okay, so you do have some indications it could be a tier 1 silver discovery, the Cosuño project. Where exactly is the project located, and what makes you so excited that that this could potentially become such a big discovery?
Well, the project's location. I mean, we're in Bolivia. We're 45 minutes by paved highway to the entrance of the community, and then it's another half an hour onto the project. So, good infrastructure. There's power going into the community, but the lithocap itself is what's very, very attractive, right? This is the type of system that is comparable with San Cristobal or Cerro Rico, both major mines that are along the same belt. And we don't go out there and lightly say this is a lithocap. It's got tier 1 potential. We have a very strong technical team that has evaluated this and confirmed specific elements and minerals that are in the lithocap that can confirm that it is a lithocap system. The other thing I can say with lithocaps, they're typically barren. And in the case of Cassunos, it is mineralized, and that mineralization, various metals, makes a very strong case that there's a deeper system below the lithocap that's feeding this type of mineralization. And this mineralization comes in all forms. It comes in structures, veins, hydrothermal breccias, and then we can see these types of elements on surface. So it's quite interesting. We're having this interview. I'm still in Bolivia right now. I've been here since the beginning of the program. Actually, prior to that, getting it set up, kind of late October, and I've been here, every day since. And the drilling program's completed as of a few days ago. We'll be putting out a news release by the time you guys get this video out. But we did 11 holes. 906 meters, and the deepest hole was 100 meters, and it's really just to test the mineralization as a lithocap at surface. And of course, future work's going to include more geophysics, more drilling, and testing some of that deeper source of the lithocap.
So this is the first time this project's been drilled.
First time it's ever been drilled, and it's just absolutely amazing because something of this size undrilled is very, very rare. I've looked at projects all over South America, and it's extremely hard to find something like this undrilled. and where you have all of the land consolidated. We have a fairly large land position, 3,375 hectares, and that's district scale. And you just can't find something like this. And we were able to capture this property at the right time, in the cycle, and move forward with it many years ago.
And yeah, so tell us more. How did you, how were you able to put this together? Because this is something you've been working on for many years.
Yeah, for quite a few years. I was working in Peru at the time, and I got to know a Bolivian geologist, and we were working on some other deals together. And he was always talking about Bolivia, the opportunity there. I was a little bit nervous about going there because there's a little bit of political differences there at the time. And eventually he convinced me to take a look at Bolivia, and we hopped on a plane together. It was close to 5 years ago. And I liked what I saw, and I started looking at different projects, and one thing just leads to another, and you start making contacts. He had some good contacts in country as well, being a Bolivian geologist. He resided in Peru. And we early days, we put together a company. We got a different project in the company that I can mention later. And then Cosuño, we became aware of it. And there was quite a few companies that were interested in this project at the time. Even silver prices were much lower than, I think they were maybe around sub $20 when we were looking at this project. And we were just able to establish the relationship with the vendor, and we had the patience to negotiate through the deal. And went into COVID. It took 18 months to do this deal, but the terms that we have on this deal, and what it looked like from surface, is just absolutely amazing. And you just don't get an opportunity like this. And I knew it right away. So once I got into the negotiations, I stayed on it. 18 months is a long time. I don't think you could do that with a public company, but being private, we had time on our side, and we worked through and got the deal done.
Excellent. And the ownership of the project is 100%. Is there any royalties?
Yeah, right. Well, right now we have 52% control, but we have a pathway to owning 48% with no royalties to the vendor. There's some small capped underlying royalties that are due to myself and my co-founder, but they're relatively small and manageable.
Okay. And right now, the drill program has completed the first, you said that 900 or so meters. Drill results are going to be coming out. When do you expect the first batch or the results?
Yeah. So we drilled 906 meters, 11 holes, maximum depth of 100 meters. We've sent the first 2 holes out for assay, and those should be back in early January. And then the rest of the samples will be going out in the next couple of days. And then they should come back, start trickling in, 3rd, 4th week of January.
Okay. Well, this project has attracted some pretty big names. You've added some significant executive members to the team, including the former CEO of New Pacific Metals, which has had huge discoveries in Bolivia. Dr. Redwood, with his expertise in Latin America, and also, quite interesting as well. And I've known Arturo from Santa Cruz Silver for many years. He's become a strategic investor, advisor, and Santa Cruz is quite active and successful in Bolivia. So, yeah, what has attracted all these individuals to this, brand for a company of this size? It's quite remarkable.
It definitely wasn't me. It's the project. I'm really proud of the team that I've been able to put together. It didn't happen overnight, but step by step, I was able to bring these people in, and I think in the case of Mark Cruz, I'd met him prior, but I got a more formal introduction to him through another director, Keith Henderson, who was introduced to me by a shareholder. And when I presented the project and what I was doing, it was private, and he saw the project, and being from Bolivia, he was aware of the project. So that made things a little bit easier. I mean, this was a project that was chased by a lot of companies, well before, the silver market started heating up. Because, as I said, something of this size, with all the concessions consolidated, is just difficult to find. So, he agreed to come on board as a director, and he wrote a sizable check into the company as a private company, along with Keith Henderson, who's also an excellent, director, also a geologist, and I was happy to bring him on as well because he has a lot of Latin American experience, not in Bolivia, but in Peru and Argentina. Then I was conversing with Stuart Redwood. It's kind of a cold call. Reached out to him because I knew he's just very well known in Bolivia. He's known as Mr. Bolivia,
Yeah.
and he saw the project, and then it turns out he knew my co-founder Gonzalo and a few other guys that are, on the team here, and so it just worked out well, and he agreed to join. And Stuart's one of those guys too that he doesn't lend his name out to a lot of public companies. He's not out there being an
Mhm.
advisor and director to 10 different companies and saying, waving the flag. Like, he's very specific, and to have him to come in the company and say the things that he says about this project, how rare it is, the potential, that it's the best undrilled project in Bolivia and perhaps all of South America, is really validates what we're doing here. And
Mhm.
of course, as we went along on the deal, we brought in, Rob McMorran. He came as part of the transaction we did with Farstar, and through um, that arrangement, I had an introduction to Arturo, and Arturo, um, he vetted the property himself. Like, he had some of his geos come out in the early days and take a look at this. And after they looked at this property, he was essentially, all in, and he wrote some big checks to the company that, really helped out. And later on, when we got to know each other, he agreed to be an advisor, and he's currently not an advisor, a director of any other company that I know of.
Mhm.
And that really validates what we're doing. And I think in the future, if we have good drill results, there's also some sort of synergy that can be achieved with having his involvement, because Santa Cruz is a phenomenal operator in Bolivia. They have 5 mines. I think they announced that they're building another one. It was 3 mines. One of them's a complex of three, but they're building, announced building another mine. They're going to be listed on the Nasdaq. They have over $1 billion market cap. And when I talked about that highway that's right near our project, well, if you go down that highway less than 100 kilometers, you'll hit the Porco mine, and the Porco mine is a long life mine. So there's absolutely, some business that could be done between BP and Santa Cruz, in the future. I think if results are good, and we can continue developing the project.
Excellent. I mean, it's for this kind of a startup, and the combination of individuals that you have. It's a testament to the potential of this project. And you did mention this is not the only project. You have a second project. So if Cosuño doesn't turn out to be the discovery, which the expectations or hope is for it to be, what does the next project look like?
The second project we have is Tatiri. Um, that project, has a little bit of overhang right now because it's only partially titled. It's a 4,950 hectare project. Um, we have a exploration license on about 850 hectares, and the other 4,050 is pending title. And we've had this petition for a lot of years, like a lot of companies in Bolivia have had areas staked or petitioned, and it's been difficult, very, very bureaucratic to get these things titled. But we have had a change in government recently, and I think that new government is very open to foreign mining. I think there's going to be some policy changes, and I think things will start to move faster, and we will eventually have title to Tatiri. And Tatiri is located on another major belt. It's 75 kilometers north of Potassic. It's also close to some of Santa Cruz's operations. It's close to Andean Precious Metals and their processing plants in Potassic. So excellent opportunity if we can make discoveries there. We have some historical samples, approximately 400 historical samples from the late 80s that average 102 grams per ton silver, plus lead, plus zinc. Our check samples that we took, that Stuart and Gonzalo took, averaged over 200 grams silver. Excellent community relations out there, and so that is a future project. I don't want to go out and call that a tier 1 project yet, but it's certainly something I'm very, very interested in, and the geology is exceptional. And that was another thing, just being in country, having the contacts, being aware of the information, and being able to move on it and secure it. It's just another testament to the team that we have. I got
That's
an excellent partner here, I should mention, like Gonzalo Lemus. He's just a first-class geologist, really hands-on in the field, and he's been instrumental in putting this company together. And even being down here and the drill selections, he's been very, very careful and very selective. So I'm crossing my fingers, but I think the results will be interesting.
no, it's exciting times. It's you got the silver market in your favor now, and you were able to do this during the quiet period in the silver price. And before the change in politics here in Bolivia, which really appears to be quite a huge shift, and going to attract more investment and interest from investors. What is the climate like in Bolivia right now?
The elections just happened, and new presidents in place, Rodrigo Paz. I haven't seen, to be honest, I haven't seen any notable changes yet, but I've heard that the changes are coming. So we'll really have to look, wait to get into, Q1, Q2 of next year, where we start to see some changes. But I've been having some conversations with people about it, and I think it's going to be positive. Bolivia has the geological potential here is just maybe the best in the world, but the biggest thing holding it back has been the government and the economy, right? There hasn't been, even at the beginning of this project, we were having trouble, getting diesel fuel. There's rapid inflation here. There's two separate markets for dollars here. There's the bank rate and the black market rate, and it can be complicated to operate here. We have a good team, and we can get through it, but all of those things need to improve over time, and I think they will.
Well, to wrap things up here, it'd be good to get a little bit more on your background, because you spent quite some time here in Latin America. So this is something, an area you know how to navigate well and understand. So if you could share more about your time and experience.
My background, I have 20 plus years of diverse business experience, but as it relates to exploration, I've been doing things down in South America since 2012. These are all private companies that I've been involved with, and I still remain in a few different private companies today. And those experiences have been centered around corporate development, but acquisition, community relations, really everything. I spent a lot of time in South America building relationships with vendors, geologists, different people that give me opportunities, like I have with BP. And I've just understood that mining has always required a lot of patience, and I have that. I had that in the negotiations, and I had that just carrying BP until we got to a point where I had the right partners to take it public. And that's a little bit about my background. Like, I got into mining, the interest came from my family's involvement in contract drilling. So I was involved in that as a teenager and young adult, and so I did get to meet a lot of different companies that we would contract for, and just always had that interest. And and then things eventually led me into South America, and I love it down here, and I'm very involved. Like I said earlier, I've been here on this on site and part of this drilling program, helping it move forward, for every day of it that has been going on. And now
Mm.
we're completed and I've been able to get everything done. So that's,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not something easy. It's something you can learn overnight. Being how to navigate and to operate and understand this part of the world
yeah,
and
yeah,
these opportunities.
yeah, things move pretty fast. I mean, we got trading on September 29th, and
Mhm.
we're done the drilling mid-December, and that's a very short timeline. But this is what I told shareholders I would do. I told them that I would be on site, until this program was done. I'd make sure that it got done, and I'd make sure that we were drilling before the end of the year, that we'd get trading by the end of September. And we've hit on all of those things, and it's important. Um,
Yeah, yeah, the execution has been great, and the company is well funded for outside of this drill program. The funds should still continue to
yeah,
help the
yeah, yeah.
company through
A
next
good
year.
amount of good amount of capital. I think. I mean, I'd leave your audience, with reason to buy the stock. Right? You know, I'm a person that I do everything I say I'm going to do.
Mhm.
I don't make any promises. I've delivered on listing this company. I've delivered on this program. We'll have assays in January. The price is reasonable. But if we have good assays, it's going to move up. And I think if we have good assays, we'll look to do a larger raise. I think a project of this size does require a lot of capital.
Mhm.
It's going to require a lot of drill holes, deeper drilling, geophysics, and so we'll be looking to do a raise and at ideally higher valuation. So
Mhm. Well, things are
good
set up.
time. It's a
Yeah,
good time to buy the stock.
yeah. It's the setup is quite interesting, and that's what attracted me to the company. So it's been already exciting to see how things have progressed so quickly in the last months. Obviously, I got to join as an investor recently, and a lot of the hard work has been put together to get to this point. But now we get to see how the results come together, and we'll be looking forward to see how things come together now. I guess in January with the results coming out, and if they are positive, should be quite exciting with the silver market also helping out and so on. So and on that note, I do look forward to following up with you. I'll be in Vancouver and look forward to actually meeting you in person, and we can hopefully then do another interview in person there to follow up with these results. So hopefully
Absolutely.
we will be able to talk about some interesting results and see how things have come together.
Definitely. Yeah,
All
no,
right.
thank you, Peter. I appreciate you doing the interview and the introduction to BP.
Yeah, likewise, and thank you for doing this. And right before Christmas, I know you're on the road. We're on the road, but I think it's very important to get this out now because it is the timing is quite important with the drill program ending here, and things are coming together pretty quickly. So yeah, thank you for introducing it to our audience, and look forward to following it here in the coming weeks and
Oh,
months.
sounds good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Tim.
Take care, Peter.
Take care.